everybody, to another edition of Wrestling on the Fly. This is now part 2 of The Butchers episode, along with my producer, Nick H, is always with me. How would that first hour go? Just like that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like it was
nothing. Really
like 5
enjoy
minutes,
it.
right?
It's a normal day. Man, if you were just sitting here, we'd probably be having the same conversation.
Absolutely.
So,
all right, we left off last time at...
Cheers to everybody out there.
Here you go. Crack that beer open, and we're ready to go back into the dates here. 4/11 of 2003 was the last date we did. The very next day, 4/12 of 03, is a team of Rick Knight, Sacrifice, and Tony Scarpone defeat Anger Inc.
I don't think I was involved in that match. Anger Inc. was Wally Wild. The very short time, I've known Wally for many years. That was a short, 1 year period that I knew him where he was a heel. Because Wally was always a babyface. Eric West.
Yep.
And Scott, I know his real last name. I'm not sure what he was going by at the time. But he had a gimmick he was going with. Thornhill. James Thornhill. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, it did actually list you in that match as a 6-man tag. That was the second night. 4/12.
Yeah. 4/12. Okay. That was pretty close to Dream Night 2.
Correct.
So, yeah, I
2
don't
months
think...
before that.
Yeah. That might have been when we did the vignette. I think, yeah, because I came in at the end of that match. We did a vignette where we went to Scarpone's house, and I followed him around. And yeah, so the first part, I go through his... he leaves his house. I go through his house. I go through all the... Because he had a lot of the T-shirts from the other wrestlers. So I'm looking through his T-shirts, and I'm seeing, wrestlers from the company. It's kind of a cool little gimmick, you know. I hate this guy this, this guy that, you know. Then the second part of the vignette, he goes to his mom's house. He's talking to his mom. As soon as he leaves the room, he goes to take a shower. I come up like this behind his mom. Tie her up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Tie her up. Then, actually, before I tie her up, they go click the Scarpone in the shower and he hears a bang. I hit her with the meat tray. Then I tie her up. And then he comes out of the shower and says, "Ma, I don't know what you and Dad are doing, but don't do this when I'm here." And then we end up at a bar where I come out behind the bar, pop up and, "What's your poison, brother?" or something dumb like that. And he grabbed me. Oh, this guy was strong. He grabbed me like this over the bar. We start fighting in the bar. I get the upper hand, and we set up for Dream Night 2.
That is correct. 6/7 of 03. He defeats you for the Midwest title in a Texas death match. I was actually there that night because I was trying to talk to somebody there about breaking into business myself, and there's the fly. The Road Warriors also returned for that match.
Yeah, that was a fun match, and it's like I was saying earlier, this was like our second time feuding me and Scarpone. The first time, he was the heel, I was the face. I went over on the matches, he got over. It was different. He was the face, I was the heel. He went over on the matches, but I got over. Because, and I was very proud of one thing after that match. I mean, it was the first time I really got into thumbtacks, and I really started getting into it.
Usually we would put him inside the door.
Yep. But this was, he dumped him out of a mailbox. We had some fun. The finish got a little botched. He was supposed to throw me over the top through a table. And as he was throwing me, my feet got caught, and he grabbed me. We were talking about Stubbs earlier. If you watch the tape, instead of, seeing the botch, Stubbs is like, "Oh, Butcher just grabbed the rope." Well, he sold it for us, covered it for us. That's why good commentary is always important, man. They fill in the stories, and they keep, things from looking bad. So we ended up just going off the apron through the door. But after the match, Vincent Stone, someone I've always loved Vincent Stone. He was the commentator, so Scarpone won, he did all the thing, and I'm crawling back to the ring, selling, crawling, and he goes, "So everybody, give it up for the Butcher." He had a hell of a match, and they all booed the shit out of me. So I'm like, I did my job.
That's right. After Dream Night, we go to October 4th of 2003. You have a singles match against John Burke.
Oh, yeah, that's when we were starting, like, kind of a new style with me after, losing the title and everything. I think I took the summer off, if I remember, because I was a little banged up and just wanted to kind of... After Road Warriors won the tag team titles, they had the tournament, and that was pretty much the focus of over the summer. Okay. So it wasn't something I was involved in at the time, so I just kind of like, yeah, I'll take a little time off. And then I came back at the end of the summer and attacked Sonny, because I was going to be the young asshole heel going after the vets. That was my thing. But then Sonny had to leave. He had to leave the state for a little bit. So it sounds like he was running from the cops. No, Sonny just, with his job. The way I put that, Sonny, like mafia. I'm an Italian, from Italian neighborhood. So that's how we talk, He had to go away for a little bit, But, but yeah, no, so that ended up being turned into Burke. So, I caught, and it was just a small thing with Burke to get into with Rick Rocket.
Correct. That's the very next one.
And
11-1
I did. I had some fun. I mean, Burke's a big guy, but we had some fun. And I've always liked working the bigger guys for some reason. It just seems, well, and like I said earlier, I like taking the moves. So, but I was a little nervous about working a guy the size of Burke because I never had. But it flowed. It flowed and it was fun. John was a vet. John was a big time vet at the time. So, you're picking up all these pieces and. To getting to here, though, I tagged with Rick with Hostile Intentions, and I worked with him a lot. And his psychology is unbelievable. And as we're going over the matches and stuff, doing that constantly with Rick really gave me an idea of what I'm supposed to do out there and why you do it, not just doing a move. You do it for a reason. Everything has to have a reason. Even if the crowd don't get it, you have to, because you have to be in this like flow. Everything has to mean something. Like that's with hardcore matches. A lot of people are like, I just go out there and throw shit at each other. Me, you didn't know me. I like to have it planned a little more, because number one, I mean, there's the injury factor, but we're wrestlers. That's something we gotta live with. Yeah, but my main thing is I don't want a couple guys just hitting each other with shit. There has to be a reason why I'm doing this. Which is what they do nowadays. Exactly. But why you're going through the table, why I'm going through the door, why, and I got so much of that from working all this time with Rick. So this was kind of my next way of moving up was I went into this feud with Rocket. So we were mid-card feud. There was no titles. We were just, it was like every show. We were the fifth match. It was like 8 or 9 matches. We were always the fifth match. I forget who it was, but they're like, yeah. I'm like, man, this is like the 8th show in a row. I'm like the 5th match. And he's like, we're the meat and the condiments. You're in the middle.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
But there was no like, people who don't know this, if you're lower down the card, you have less people worrying about what you're doing because they're more worried main event, following storylines. And there wasn't like a set storyline. We were just going at each other, So I was like, Rocket, let me try this. Yeah, sure. Let me try. And I was trying all kinds of new shit, getting a little more crazy. One time I found this old clock, so I kept it under the ring. No one's looking. I hit him with just little stupid shit like that, But I was just trying to gauge the crowd's reaction on the stuff I did. So, and a lot of the stuff I gotta say actually worked that I was doing. I was getting more reaction. There were certain things I did where they didn't respond to, so I didn't do it anymore. So, but during that time, I learned like who the Butcher was, what the crowd's expecting out of me, and during that feud, little by little, the boos are going away. The Butcher beats his meat chants are going away.
I forgot about that. Well, holy shit, I haven't heard that in forever. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I'm getting more of a pop, and I think I'm going.
You're right in line. Yep, I got a singles match with you and Rick Rocket that ends in a double countout, which leads into a tag team match. You and Sacrifice defeat John Burke and Rick Rocket.
Okay,
so, yeah. Your memory's right online. Yep.
Yeah,
That
and
was in
then
November.
we were building into a barbed wire match. That should be.
That's correct. Yeah, that's in February.
Yeah, that's what this whole thing with like I was explaining a lot what me and Rocket did because there were a lot of matches. It was like me and Rocket were like joined at the hip for like a year, but it like I said it made me learn exactly what I was doing. I learned what worked, and we did this barbed wire match where we really gave it to him. We really gave it to him out there. I mean, we did. There was a spot I even did because I had an old toilet seat. And I remember the match between Kevin Sullivan and Norman the Lunatic. I really liked.
Yeah, I remember.
In WCW, Falls Count Anywhere, and the match ends with Kevin Sullivan with the toilet seat around his head falling, and the ref comes out because he had counted the pin where the cameras weren't. You know, I enjoyed shit like that. You know, so I did the whole toilet seat thing. We were all over the ring. We both got caught. Gave him a hell of a match. I walked out, they were booing. Rocket came out, they cheered. Rocket went over and they booed. And I'm like, Rocket, what the fuck is wrong with these people? What more do they want to give him? He's like, well, just hit me with something. So I pick up the barbed wire chair and hit him. The place starts to pop. And I'm like, oh shit. You know, so we from there, they're like, oh, yeah, it was probably just because of the match or whatever. And that was what this character was developed for. There was no babyface Butcher. It was like Rex Bartlett or the Sheriff. It was all, Butcher was designed to be like a heel, a big-time heel. And then, so they put me up against this guy, Chase Richards. He was real interesting because he was with our company maybe about 4 or 5 months. But he somehow... A couple months before the Kill Bill movie came out, that song where Lucy Liu was walking in, that crazy, song from Kill Bill, he had it. And he was coming out to it, and his entrance was timed perfectly to it. He was over as fuck. Like, he's walking to the ring, and everybody's like, cheering. Everybody loves this guy. So they're like, okay, Butcher, we want to keep you as a heel. We're going to put you against him. He comes out, they cheer. I come out, they cheer. And then we start working. Everything he does, they boo him. And I'm like, and he's like selling it too. He's and we're working back and forth. What I really was impressed with him about, because this was maybe, we were both around the same time in the business, about 3 years. But, and that's the thing about this business. You don't really know what you're doing till you're, like I'm saying, I'm starting to learn at 3 years. You don't really know what you're doing till you're in at least 8-10 years. I mean, it takes a long time. But some people have the wherewithal real early. And that's one thing about this guy. We finished the match. He went over. They were booing him. He grabbed the mic and he said, I've been doing this almost 4 years now, and this is the toughest guy I've ever been in the ring with. He knew where I was going, and he went with it. Like, let's put this guy over. And I really respected that from him to do that. And that kind of led to a match with me and Rick Knight and a match with me and Strick Nine. And it kind of went the same way. So we were doing it a little slow.
Yeah, you're hitting it right on the point. One match I got before the barbed wire match is Chicago Connection, one of the most famous groups in PCW history, defeat you and James Thornhill, a name you mentioned a little while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jared Priest and Jay Phoenix, Chicago Connection. I assume with P.L. Myers is always there with them.
I'm trying to think how that played out because...
There was at a show called Alliance.
Huh. Because I was...
January.
Oh, I think they were... there was like pulling name out of hats or something like that. It wasn't like a storyline thing because I didn't quite start... I had a little bit of history with the Connection at the time, but I really didn't have much. Like, that was... really close on its way,
Yep, the Strychnine match is next, and then after that, you wrestle Sacrifice in a singles.
Yes, and that was an interesting match because we had a maybe the Thornhill, or should there be a Rick Knight match in there?
I don't have a singles one here.
All right, because I think it was me and him at the we did I don't think it's in there. We did a Hawk Memorial show after Hawk died. And that was going to be the day I was officially going baby. So, and I had always liked, I spoke in P.L. Myers' book about my time with Hawk, and the main thing I said is, this guy's a legend in the business. He always treated me like a friend. You know, he was always very nice and stuff. And on my meat tray, I wrote out Hawk in black tape, you know. So it was, I worked Rick. Rick did the same thing that Chase Richards did. He's like, hey, man, you know, one of the toughest kids I've ever been in the ring with, put me over. And later that night, he was, me and him in Puerto were all kind of in the ring, and we all like joined forces. I kind of did the, you know, the way I went face. I told Puerto, hey, you know, and Rick, like, I'm crazy. I could do this, but I need help to go to the next level type of thing. Okay. And, you know, the crowd was all into it, you know. We finished from there. So then I was full legit babyface. We also had, because we had, what were they, Los Mexicanos? They were, well, we had them as Warm and Dirty.
Yeah.
Warm Carlos and Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah, I remember, yep.
Warm Carlos, Dirty Sanchez was already gone from the company, but Warm Carlos, Puerta, me and Rick were like his little crew. And we went to, we were getting ready for, this was like a couple months before Dream Night. So I had a match, Sacrifice was a champion. I had a match for, it was a non-title match. But we had it set up where Sacrifice would attack me before the ref or the ring announcer could say that. So people think it's a title match. I go, they kind of wanted to see the response. So I go over, you know, Rick and Warm Carlos are picking me up. I'm holding up the belt, and then they come out and take it away from me. What they call a dusty finish. You know, so we did that, and, you know, the crowd was really into me. So then they're like, but we're not quite ready at Dream Night. You're not quite ready at a Dream Night. So we had, I'm sure it's on the list, me, Sacrifice, Johnny Mac, and Rick Knight.
Yep.
In a Chicago Stockyard match.
That's correct. Yep, Dream Night 3.
Yeah, so then we had Dusty Rhodes.
I was there for that one, too.
Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, Chicago Stockyard match. Because I called out to, you know, everybody. We were all just, you know, getting in each other's way. So I'm like, let's just, you know, who was getting the shot at Rick and all that. So, or who was getting the shot at Sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, so we just all ended up being in the match. And I'm like, okay, we're doing a Chicago Stockyard. I put Sawdust out in the ring like a meat department.
I do remember that, yes. I do remember that.
Just brought tons of weapons. We were just, you know, and it was an elimination match. So Johnny Mac went out first, and then Sacrifice went out. So me and Rick, who are managed by Puerta, are the final two wrestling for the belt. You know, it's down to us. So we're going back and forth. Next thing you know, out comes P.L. Myers. After that, out comes Jared Priest, because this is no disqualification. Jared Priest and Whiplash and Jay Phoenix. And everyone's taking their turn giving me finishers. Boom, boom, boom. And then they bounce me off this one table for the third time, and it doesn't break. So then, you know, Rick pins me. They win the title. You know, Rick's the champion.
He joins their group, right?
He's with the Connection. Yep. And the table that wouldn't break. I mean, Puerto was a big dude.
Yeah.
God rest his soul, too, and he was a good guy. The table, he was a big dude. And the table, they just threw him, and he didn't even hit it that hard. That thing just exploded. So I'm like, and that was like, no, there was one more year of it. But that was when I started getting towards the end of the tables. Number one, I was getting all these bruises and marks bouncing off them. And number two, it, you know, like I said, you want to keep the crowd happy. You want them to be satisfied. Yes. You know, they want, when you hit the table and you bounce off it, they're not getting what they want. They want to see a crash.
Yeah, they're like, oh, boo.
Yeah.
That's what yep.
You know, so, I mean, not understanding that, I want it to crash because it hurts a lot less when it doesn't break.
That is true.
Or when it breaks, but,
yeah, coming out of that match now in August, now there's different people on different sides now. There's another 8-man tag coming up. This was August 21st. So it's you, Sacrifice now, and Team Dammit. Willie Richardson and Jermel Quinn. Mm-hmm. On the same team, Defeat, Rick Knight, Jay Phoenix, Jared Priest, and a question mark. It didn't list that fourth person. Would that have been, who would have been the fourth member, if not Whiplash?
Who is it?
So it was Rick Knight, Jay Phoenix, Jared Priest,
and Whiplash.
Okay, I figured it was, but I put it there just to verify.
Yeah, I'm
that
almost sure it was Whiplash. That match lasted an hour.
Did it really?
We went way too early. Or the show was going way too early.
Oh,
So we went
stretch it out, yeah.
We went for a long time in that one. I mean, it was fun. It was, nothing special, but it was fun. And it was leading, the main thing was me and Rick. Rick was laying me out, We were leading towards what was coming up in October.
That is correct. And that our first piece of memorabilia for this show. Do you remember the date exactly?
October.
1 month before that.
It wasn't in September. It was in October.
I got 9/18 of 04. Unless the date that I found it on is wrong.
No, it wasn't 9/18/04. It was probably 9/19 or 9/14. Because it was I remember the date is because of the after party.
Yep.
We were we went to a bar afterwards, and that was that night where, because the Red Sox, they won the World Series that year. The Red Sox got killed by the Yankees, like 20, and they were down like 3-0, and they ended up coming back and winning it.
That's right.
But I remember that was in October. It was like, I think October 14th, if I'm not. It wasn't quite September. I know that for a fact. Okay. But I think September actually might have got canceled because it was it got moved. I ended up I ended up being a special guest referee. It was the show got canceled. Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles were supposed to come in to work with Tony Rican and Golden Boy Mike
Horning.
Mike Horning. Mm-hmm. There you go. Yep. And that didn't happen. They were pretty upset about it, which I can understand. And I was supposed to do a 3-way with Rick and Sacrifice with Ricky the Dragon as the special guest referee, which didn't end up happening. So they ended up doing Rick and Sacrifice with me as a special guest referee, which was weird. And I remember I think it was Lou Tufano. Somebody told me, they're like, I forget who it was, but they're like, I just want to tell you one thing. Special guest referees always forget to do one thing. They always forget to ring the bell. Because, Nick's a known ref. He knows ring the bell. That's how you start. But us, we don't think about that. Yep. So I made sure I did that. And that was kind of fun. And then we led up to Elk Grove. So I guess I learned more about this as time went on, but I guess the company wasn't doing really well. We had just done that split. We kind of jumped over the split. We can get back to that.
Yep, I'm going to get to that after
we can get back to that. But so it was that, and Rick was known. I mean, there were other investors, but Rick was like the face of the company, and he didn't want it, but they put the title on him because they felt it would make best sense. They weren't worried about Rick, they were worried about me. And it made sense with my step. He'd be the perfect guy for me to go through. You know what I mean? So he's like, oh no, people are going to kill it. They're like, fuck them. Let's do our storyline the way we're going to do it. So, I mean, things were kind of looking a little bad, and they were actually doing a free show at Elk Grove College, or Elk Grove High School. Was it Elk Grove? I think it was Elk Grove High. No, Elmhurst.
Elmhurst College?
York High School.
Okay.
So we had PL who went there, the Schnog who went there, and Brian, ring announcer Brian, who was always very good. I liked ring announcer Brian because he understood what the hell I was doing. Not too many people actually got my concept. He did. Like, a quick thing with him, when he first came in, they're like, oh, he wrote a little interview, like, segment about you he was going to post on our website or whatever. And I'm like, at first I was a little taken back, like, this guy, writing what I'm going to say or whatever. I read it. I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. It ended up with, like, me having a head in the box, and the ending was the cops found him crying in a Wendy's bathroom, and they bought him a Frosty. It was brilliant. It was really done well. I mean, it got over what I want to get over, and it was very entertaining, So It was those three guys. They actually did I think it was PL versus Snog with ring announcer Brian as a special guest referee, and he was always like White Sox, they called him. So I thought what was cool about him, he had the socks up real big, and he put the lines on them like the referee shirt. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I ended up wrestling twice that night. Me and Sacrifice were doing like a future #1 contender match. So we were in the middle of the match because we were both. Sacrifice was kind of had the tweener. I had gone full babyface. I had the crowd. I mean, I still can't believe it, but I had the crowd like fully behind me. It's just amazing to think about those days. But they were like fully behind me. He was kind of the tweener, and Rick was the heel. So during like 10 minutes into my match with Sacrifice, he interrupts and costs match gets thrown out. That old #1 contender, that kind of thing. So Stubbs, who was the general manager at the time, he comes out and says, no. He goes, they're going to restart the match, and whoever wins this match is wrestling you tonight. So, he did the whole left or whatever. So we finished the match. While we're doing the match, I had this idea. It didn't work out too well, where I was going to do... I think I've seen other people do this, but I never seen it at the time. It was a new thing to me. Where I was going to do like, the side drop on the knee, and then stand right up into a side slam. And when I did it on the edge of my knee so I could stand right up and just blew it out a little bit.
Really?
So that was during the first match. So I win with over Sacrifice, and I'm going in with Rick. And, when we were talking about how it was going to be done, I'm like, let's make this, because there's connection. I had, Warm Carlos, I had some other people. I go, let's just make this like, even Sacrifice. Let's just make everybody come in. And we kind of did, thing after thing came, and he thought Rick was going to win. Thought I was going to win. And then finally I go over, and it's like, wow. I'm finally, I'm walking to the back, and like PL, who, he was the first one to come up to me. He goes, you really deserve this. And this company was like, it was a free show. They were kind of not doing too well. And, Rick is like, all right, Butcher, this is on you. If we make it, it's on you. See what happens, And then, time went on and went pretty well, man. The crowd was into the matches. We had people in the arena. So we made it to Dream Night 4.
Go ahead and grab your belt over there so everybody can see the PCW heavyweight title.
This, I didn't win.
Put it right around here.
Put it around here. Oh, perfect. Yep. That wasn't the actual belt they had that night. They were switching belts.
Yeah, this is the version after.
Yeah, this was, I got this the first time during my fourth and fifth reign. The first one, they were switching it over to... It was, I think, after the Winged Eagle, the one they had those, because I cut myself a couple times on it, the spikes on the side. It was right after the Winged Eagle. I think The Rock and Austin were like the first couple to hold it.
Yeah,
they were switching over to
middle,
that.
Right? Yeah.
But our original, for the first couple of years, was the ECW belt.
Yeah, I remember when John Burke had the title.
Yeah.
It looked like the ECW title. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, can we wait to switch it until my friend was like, yeah. I'm like, because ECW, I mean, that was my company, so
yep.
I'm like, okay. So I had that, and but yeah, it was like from there we go on to I had a bunch of title defenses because that would last until June. That title reign. I'm trying to think of any matches that really stick out. Jay Phoenix, we had a couple. There's one they called Passion of the Butcher. It was there should be two with Jay Phoenix. One at Summit, one at Midlow.
I got one in 11/20 of 04. It's called Thanksgiving Turmoil. You defeat Whiplash and Jay Phoenix in a three-way match in Summit.
Okay.
Which is this flyer right here.
Okay.
Baby. 129 of 05. You defeat Steve, or actually you don't defeat. It's a no contest. You get to wrestle Steve Boz.
Yes.
Mr. Windy City Steve Boz.
Yes, that's an interesting story.
He came in for a couple shots here and there at PCW, right?
Well, it was me. So Boz, I met Boz outside of pro wrestling. I was working as a butcher at a store, And I say it differently with this because usually, like, if somebody works for Pepsi or whatever, they're the dealer. But he worked for Coke, so you don't want to say Coke dealer because that gives people the wrong idea. So we're Coke salesman,
That's true.
you know.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. You know, he was the Coke salesman. He'd come in and they introduced. They're like, oh, because right away, you know, Boz, he's promoter number one. So he's like, can I hang flyers? And they're like, well, there's already flyers up there. So Boz is cool. Hey, is it cool if I hang flyers? Yeah, go ahead, whatever. You know, but we started talking about wrestling and all this stuff. And I was actually supposed to work that night. We found out like 3 weeks before. I guess he hurt his shoulder or couldn't make the show. There was something that happened. I was excited because I was going to wrestle Brandon Bishop.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, and that was a match that at the time, I mean, he was a big deal. You know, it would have been really good to get in the ring with him. But it got, you know, they're like, all right, we got to find something else to do. So I mentioned to Boz, I'm like, I'm not getting my match with, because I told him, you know, I was telling Boz I'm going to wrestle Brandon, you know. So I told Boz, you know, hey, I'm not going to be able to do it. He goes, I'll do it. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, wait, you got a strap over there? He goes, yeah, I'm the Windy City League champion. So I'm like, So I call Rick. I'm like, dude, what if we do like a PCW versus WCW title for title match? And he's like, well, how's that going to play out? I'm like, well, we got PL. PL could fuck up the whole thing and piss people off like he always does, and we can. And we ended up going that route. You know, it's like, you know, at the I'll never forget that night because there was a lot of people at Summit. He had brought some people in there. Plus, it was just like there was a certain feel in the air that night because when people don't know what's happening, you know, it's like it was really a big deal. Actually, when I think about it, the PCW versus the Windy City title, that's a big deal. And you could feel it in the air and stuff. So the match was going on. I mean, Boz is one of the better workers.
Oh, he's a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was going very smooth, very smooth. We had a very smooth match. And Boz did his strengths. I did my strengths. So it worked out really well. And PL and his guys screwed everything up. And we ended up fighting them off together, getting the big, you know, because I'm more, you know, I like doing face versus face once in a while, but like when there's a title, when there's like a situation. But I'm more like having the faces together. You know, I like the separation.
It's hard to work that way.
I like it because that's pretty much what the business is: bad guy versus good guy. You know, so and it worked out really well. One thing, I mean, there were a lot of kids there that night at Summit, and I remember like after the show because Boz had left. I think he had another booking. Knowing Boz, I think he worked. We worked like the first. We actually did that before intermission. Because I think he had another booking later, you know. So, but I thought it was, I was like, nah, forget the main event. That's the perfect time to do it anyway. You know, so we did it. And then at the end of the show, I walk out there. And then a bunch of kids come running up to me. You know, like I was saying earlier, you know, they knew who I was. It was this is a wrestler, you know. So I'm signing a few autographs here, you know, like I get to about 7, 8. I look up. And there's like a line of like 20 other kids with their parents and stuff.
Damn.
And I'm like, kids, I'll be right. I honestly went. I'm almost getting choked up thinking about it. I went in a little. It wasn't even a bathroom. It was a little sink area. So I started shedding a couple of tears, man. It was like, you know, because that's what I always wanted to be. You know, I knew how the kids were looking at me because I had looked at other people that way. You know, and for someone to have that kind of admiration for me really meant a lot. You know, so I went back and finished with the kids, but it's like the first time having something like that was just way too much. I mean, the pops are good, you know, a bunch of people, but the kids, you know, it's like, and this wasn't supposed to be like this. I was supposed to be the guy that the kids feared, you know. But the kids nowadays are a lot tougher than they used to be.
True. Working into Dream Night 4 now, you get a chance to get back with your old buddy here, Sacrifice. He defeats you for the heavyweight title in a 3 stages of hell match.
That was the idea of a guy who's now working for POW, AC Hamilton. He had come up with the idea that we do 3 stages, and it was like the way it would work. It was first was a regular match, DQs, count outs, all that kind of shit. It was a regular type of match. Second was a first blood. And then third was fouls count anywhere hardcore. So the way it worked is the first match, I beat Sacrifice by his qualification because he cracked me in the head with a chair.
Okay.
But as soon as we went to start the second match, I was bleeding, so he automatically.
That's pretty.
That was his. That was Hardy.
I like that.
AC Hamilton. I know it was Hardy, but
Yeah.
that I got to give him credit. That was his idea.
I like that.
So yeah, and then we went into the final match. Me and Sacrifice were. But see, Sacrifice is like that with everybody. I mean, even John Burke, Jimmy. I mean, this guy just had chemistry with everybody. It was amazing. And we worked a lot, so I mean, we went through. It's simple as hell. The guy comes flying with a splash. He looks like he kills you. You don't even fucking feel him. You don't even fucking feel him. I mean, it's just such a smooth match with him. We finished the show, and I dropped the belt, and that's when later that night, another time I was in tears again. Rick Knight came up to me, and he goes, I just want to let you know, Butcher. He goes, this was a make or break past year for us. And you were the champion. You led this company. When we made more money than we have with anybody other as champion. Just hearing those words.
That's pretty cool.
I just, we're at the bar, and I'm crying. I didn't care who's seen it, whatever.
Yeah,
it was
cool.
just like, it's good to, I didn't want to just be there. I was happy to be there. I was happy to just be there. But I didn't want to just... I wanted to be some kind of impact. I didn't want, because the guys, they see me come up. There was a lot of love and respect for me, so, but I didn't want it to be just about that. Like, we like Butcher. Butcher's a good guy. I wanted to, and that's how I felt sometimes. Maybe I'm getting a push because I'm, nice to everybody and cool and all that stuff, which... helps out in life. I used to be an asshole growing up, and I learned that being nice, you get a lot more nice things when you're nice, and getting into trouble, But,
very true.
Yeah, so that made me feel like, hey, it wasn't just because of who I was or what, how I got along with people. It was because I earned it, and deserved it.
3/18 of 06, the Bridgeview Invasion. You wrestle Schnog.
That was at Bridgeview. What was their place?
Is that the one that we did shows, Nick, at the Bridgeview?
It was a restaurant.
Oh.
I forget the name of it.
Don't recall.
We did one show. It wasn't that big of a show because WWE, we had it already set up. And I think 3 weeks before that, they decided they were going to do a Saturday night's main event. I remember that. Because we didn't have much, people stay home and watch that instead of come see us. And it was a new building at a restaurant. I remember that because I got color in the match. And I had to walk, through the restaurant to go to the bathroom to clean up. So I'm walking with blood dripping all over my face while people are trying to eat their food. But there's nothing I can do. I enjoyed the match with Schnog because we did it old school, the way it should be done. It was about maybe 7-8 minutes. First minute was me getting my start. The rest of the match was him kicking the shit out of me, bigger guy, beating me down. I'd come back here and there, and then I'd pull off the win at the end.
This next one here reminds me of something we got to go back to about the splits. The company, when I broke in, I started with CCW at the time, and that's when Dave Storm and Jimmy Blaze broke off. I remember we got to go back to the story about what was going on. Something was going on at the time where people just weren't getting along, and they couldn't decide on what to do with each other all together at the same time, and they just kind of was doing a lot of this with everybody, making decisions and stuff. Do you remember the first split off where Jimmy and Dave left to go form CCW?
Yeah, that was
early 2003.
That wasn't a huge
It wasn't as big as
split.
the second one that's coming up.
Well,
right?
and it wasn't all at once. So all of a sudden, and Dave was one of my main trainers. Dave was one of my closest friends in the business, and he worked a trick or treat match with Wally, kind of jobbed him out, and then got on the mic and said, "I'm leaving," and we're all shocked. It's out of nowhere, and then the next thing, Jimmy, he gave a 3-month notice. he told us all at before one of the shows, and I'm like, that's my other trainer. I'm like, it's like, wow, these guys are leaving, and because I'm not, seeing what's going on in the back. I'm thinking everybody loves each other, it's all hunky dory, and I don't know about this. So then I start seeing like the holes in the wall and stuff, So I'm like, okay. Then a couple other people left. Like Nick was all of a sudden gone, a few other people, and then Jimmy opened up. We went to. I remember going to one of his early shows.
I remember seeing all you guys come.
Yeah,
when
I
first
was
started,
always
too.
very, supportive of Jimmy. I mean, there was never any heat with Jimmy or Dave. They opened their own thing, and I wish the best for him. And there was. A side of me that was thinking about maybe I should go with them. These are my trainers, but then it's like, I'm kind of established over here. This is around the time I was Midwest champion. I was like, I'm not having any major issues where I should leave, so I'm just like, okay, I'm going to stick around. And the thing with ever since Jimmy's been with the company since like early 2003. He opened. And all the way through my time in PCW, Jimmy never once recruited me. He never tried to get me to come or leave there and come here. He never tried to do that. But Jimmy always let me know that if I needed a home, I had one. And you guys know later towards the end of my career, when I had no home, where did I go, Yep.
Yeah, because it's 4/15 of 06, a show called Spring Breakout, and heavyweight champion at the time, Jay Phoenix, defeats you in Wakanda. And that's a building that we used to run as CCW, was the Wakanda building, and then we stopped running it, and then I don't know how soon after, like right away, if they jumped in there just to do.
That was the famous Les Thatcher night.
Just to do I don't know if that was a dig, I'm going to run in your building type of thing or what, but
yeah, I have no idea. I think we only ran 2 shows there.
It wasn't many.
Building. Yeah,
it was okay, but it just only had one bathroom.
Yeah, but I do remember hearing stories about the Les Thatcher.
That
incident.
sounds familiar too.
Oh.
Was he there? Did he come in?
He had done a what do you call it, like seminar thing before that, with the guys, and he was watching the show, and
okay, this is kind of coming back to me now.
we had like PL, the match he was in with Lethal Lee's daughter chased him. We were doing a lot of goofy shit, but it was, I mean, like that whole spot right there, that was just like a goofy thing. It wasn't, like it wouldn't be something we do at a Dream Night or a mid-low. We had mid-low packed, and Les Thatcher was just like, you shouldn't have done it. He was just all over everything. And I figured, because me, I don't come out like the most professional guy. I'm just flying all over the place out there. So I figured I'd be the one of the main guys, And then, but Sonny had told me, he goes, no, you were actually one of the things he liked. And I'm like, wow. He goes, Les said, he goes, you were like true to what you were doing, And he goes, you were out there like brawling, I don't know. I don't know too much of what he said, but he's like, no, Sonny told me, Les liked what you did. He was like, your champion is strong. Like, that's what it was. He said your champion was strong. Because, no, I think Jay was a champion. I forget what it was, but all I know is it was like, I was very surprised because I knew I guess he had told. They asked him what he thought, and he goes, "If I tell you guys the truth, I'm going to need a baseball bat because you're going to want to kill me." So the guys listen. They're like, "Okay, we'll take it, for what it is." Some of the things they actually changed. They're like, "Okay, we understand." But all I know is that Sonny had told me. He's like, I'm like, "Yeah, Sonny, he probably fucking hated me." He goes, "No, he actually liked you."
It's a good compliment from somebody as stature of him too. Yeah, legendary trainer.
Exactly.
And we get to Dream Night 5, and you defeat Chris Hamilton, who is AC Hamilton, correct?
Yes.
For the alternative title in a ladder match.
Yes.
What is the alternative title? Is that
it was
like a
something,
hardcore thing, or what?
It was kind of like the hardcore title. They never really took it to that level.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do when I was winning it. I wanted to turn it into 24/7. I'm a big fan of vignettes. And
Well, 24/7 would work perfect with your gimmick, dude. That would have been.
I had
great.
some stuff with
Yeah.
PL. I mean, like, honestly, one of the main things, like, my Greek friends, they hit their alley. They got this like little creek, and if you shoot it right, you could make it look like somebody's getting thrown over the bridge. And I was thinking we could have like me and PL meet for the belt or something. Just come up with something. And the connection jumps me or whatever, and they toss me over into the thing. And PL's the champion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was kind of my idea, but they didn't want to go that route. So I just kind of held it. Well, I was all of a sudden they just brought me with Aries. Like, all of a sudden you're walking out with Aries. And I'm like, okay, one of those things, but we made this shit work. And he helped me win the belt. We went on after Dream Night 5, and we became a tag team. And we were a pretty successful tag team in PCW. I mean, we weren't there forever, but we were pretty fucking over. I mean, during intermission, it was like they were just flocking to us. And at the time, once we won the tag team titles, it was like we had those plus the alternative titles. So we had 3 belts. It looked good.
That's the very next one. Your memory is better or almost as good as anybody that we've ever had on here, so that's pretty damn good. And your chronological order is like right in line.
I don't know how. I mean, all the partying, all the hits in the head, I got a great memory. But
So you and Aries defeat who for the tag team titles?
Give
you a test here. See if you can pronounce one of those names.
It was all right. So the Schnog and JT won the tag team titles at Dream Night. They were this group called the Southsiders. They were coming out in White Sox stuff. You would have booed the shit out of them.
Oh, absolutely. I would have kicked the shit out of them.
We were in the Oakland Pavilion, so it was Southside. It worked. They did a tag team turmoil. They were pretty over. Yeah. But then they just really didn't go anywhere from there. So Schnog wasn't at the show. There was a guy, he was doing a ninja gimmick. Because during the whole match, JT kept calling him, hey, ninja guy, hey, ninja guy. And it was actually kind of like a face versus face match. But we just pretty much barreled through him. Yeah. It made sense. So that was like a big start on our title run. We ran through them. We ran through. There was another match, I don't know if it's on there, with Hardy and this other kid. I forget his name. He was a kid. He had a little problem with his hand. He was a small little kid. And it was his first match, and it was him and Hardy versus me and Aries. And we just beat the shit out of him. It was like a 3-minute match at Summit, and it looked rough. And I came in the back like, all right, I didn't feel like I really accomplished or did anything. And Rick Knight's coming up to us. That was fucking awesome. You guys gotta do that more. He goes, you look strong as fuck like that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh. So we had, a nice little run as tag team titles, and then we started working towards the Heismans. The Heismans were up and coming.
Before we go there, we're gonna hit a new company for the first time. 3/23 of 07, you wrestled for AWA Slam.
Yes, I did.
And you got Rudo Cortez on that night.
Yep, that first night. Yep, and that was this guy over there. He always took care of me with the on the mat. Like even my first match that really wasn't that good, he put it on because he knew I watched it. And then that was like, he wasn't working with PCW, so he didn't have the footage. First show I do out of PCW when Nick's got it on the show.
Well, a lot of people know or not know, this guy right here is responsible for hundreds of people in this business since 99.
Yeah, 99.
Getting exposure by your videotapes and your film and everything. So you are responsible for everybody's success just as much as they are themselves.
Oh,
exactly. Cheers to you, Nick. Thank you for everything.
That is the truth. You get a match against one of my favorite people of all time in June in that same company, Hardcore Craig.
Yep.
One of the best dudes ever, one of the best workers I've ever been in the ring with. Awesome guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he can get hardcore like nobody else can, too.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Craig.
Yeah, that'd be a dream match for you.
Craig's a big fan of my dog. He follows his Facebook page as much as everybody. So yeah, I actually got something I'm gonna send Craig through Facebook with noodles. I got a little plan I'm gonna do. So,
Nice.
but no, Craig is really good. At the time, I think we just met. I think it was the first time I met him, and I don't think either of us knew enough about each other or at the kind of level to really do something. If we would have met like around the time in POW, I think we could have really,
Oh yeah, for sure.
really done something.
Absolutely.
But we were both baby faces, and it didn't really pan out. But I just no, he's one of the like Freedom. Him and Freedom, they've been around like
Yeah, they broke in
many
together.
years.
So yeah,
yeah,
Yep.
Jesus,
1990.
Jimmy, I mean,
yeah, the whole crew is.
but
been
yeah,
around for that
no,
long.
it was interesting, and we were supposed to, because I was the alternative champion at the time. I remember that, because after the match,
Correct.
we were supposed to go through a little feud, but it didn't end up happening. I think something with him. You know, guys, they switched to other companies or whatever,
Yep.
because he remembers. I remember at the end, he held it up, and I want another shot at you, and next time we'll do it for the belt, and that never happened. So.
Yeah, we go back to PCW now, 8/18 of 07. Jay Phoenix defeats you for the alternative title. So you're right on point with the timeline here.
Yes, that was the first time I actually tapped out.
It says that was in Aurora. So I have
Yeah. Well,
Where in Aurora was that?
on Illinois Street, I don't remember the exact name of the building. There was a Wendy's and all kinds of stuff around there. Because I ended up, when I was working later with my dad, I'd work one day a week in this machine shop with him. And I remember going to pick up food for everybody, and I drove around. I'm like, hey, I wrestled in that building. That happens a lot.
Oh yeah,
Especially around here, Pyramid Club, the Addison building's
I
right
remember
here.
going to Pyramid. Yeah.
So I'm like, I went to go get my driver's license. It's in that same area, that little building. That's
Yep.
DMV. I never knew that. The little building in the same parking lot as the Addison building. That's it's a DMV. So yeah, to that match. What match were we at?
That was Jay Phoenix
Jay
defeats you.
Phoenix,
Yep.
yeah. So that match, no one was really tapping at Jay, and we didn't have that submission guy. That was one thing I noticed that was missing in the company, and I figured I had a pretty strong stature in the company, so I figured they're like, oh, you don't want to tap. I'm like, yeah, it ain't gonna kill me. It ain't gonna kill me. But I'm like, if I tap, then no one should say they can't tap, and Jay should start tapping people out because it just works with Jay. Jay wasn't the best talker, but he had PL, so he didn't need to talk. He had a nice build. I love the Phoenix Bomb. That was so fun to take. And someone else is actually doing it now. I think it was a female I saw do it. He would like this is your head, and he'd have you in torture rack position, and they just spin you into
You do
it.
powerbomb? Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar too. I think I
But
might
it
have seen
was,
that,
Jay did a great, it was actually fun. It was almost being like a roller coaster ride, boom, boom, flipping, and I enjoyed that. So, but yeah, I tapped to Jay, and then I was, did we have the titles? I think we already lost the tag titles, didn't we? Or
You might have, but I might not have put it on here.
because that was against the Heismans where we lost them.
Unless
'Cause I
it's
don't
further down the
remember being
line.
with- yeah. No, well, let's see. No, because I had the alternative title.
Yeah, this is that match is 8/18 when you drop it to him.
Yeah, I had the alternative title, we must have already dropped the tag team
Okay.
titles.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, because I had the alternative title for a year and a half. It was like the dream night before that. So what was that, 8?
This was August.
So that would have been 14 months I had it.
Okay, yeah.
And during that year, me and Aries went on a 7-8 month reign as tag team champions. We lost to the Heismans.
Okay.
And, I love both those kids. I ended up, as we go on, you're going to hear a lot of Joe Heisman. Man. He was like the second half, man.
Yep. Back to AWA Slam, September 1st, you wrestle one of my Brotherhood members who has actually, I think, either today or yesterday,
Salute.
it's been a year now since
Salute.
Mad Dog Ivan Manson.
So the match before that, I'm not going to say his name, but some guy, there's this one wrestler I was supposed to wrestle him in a hardcore match. Before I got there, he saw that. He didn't want to do it. Made a little bit of a deal about it. So I ended up, somebody, said that. No, it was an outside show. So somebody said, I'm going to take his place. I'll do it. Trauma.
I remember that.
Jay
Yeah.
Washington
Yeah.
was doing movies and all kinds of shit. Can't be more prouder for the guy, man. Stand-up comedian, working in Hollywood. He's doing good. Seen a couple commercials of him on my TV. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, we did. It was Trauma's first hardcore match. So we went out there, had a blast outside, and people really liked it. So Buddha's like, all right, we're going to give you another one next time. And on the flyer, I had never met Ivan. The flyer, I loved I actually took this when I wrestled at other places. I love this saying. It's in the 2 sickest individuals in pro wrestling, Ivan Manson and the Butcher. So I would use that, like, sickest individual in pro wrestling. I like that, So we did a hell of a match. We hit it off like that. That first night, we're at the bar. I'm hanging out with him all night, We went out and did our smoking, We just hit it off, He had a Pink Floyd hitter box. I still remember that. I thought it was so fucking cool. Pink Floyd, the wall hitter box. So I thought it was really cool. And then, I worked with him. Is that a match with him and Rudo and Trauma on there?
That's the only one I got on. That's the last actually AWA Slam one that I have on this.
Yeah, I had a DVD put out, and that was the first match on there. That was an interesting weekend. So, me and Aries, we kind of jumped over that. When we lost the title, he turned on me. We went into Dream Night, because I think when we're talking now, we're past Dream Night 6.
Yes.
So at Dream Night 6, we did a blow-off match, and it was supposed to be a regular match. It got thrown out, but we kept going for another 10 minutes into the crowd, everything right next to you. That's the finish.
Right there, yep.
That's the finish. That's him just put me through. The match was already thrown out, so he just put me through the table and walked away. So he was done with me, but I wasn't done with him. So he's like, I'm the Butcher, and he's tag team and all this crap. I'm going after the heavyweight title. So I'm like, okay. I'm a former champion. I got the right. I'm going to challenge Johnny Mac for the heavyweight title, because if Aries wants it, he has to go through me. So I challenged Mac for the match. It's all set up. The night before is that casket match.
Okay.
So it's me and Iceman, Tim Saylor, God rest his soul, good dude, against Rudo. Iceman and me aren't the biggest guys. And we're in a handicap match against Rudo, Trauma, and Ivan. So that really ain't too fair. I got Sam Hart in my corner at the time. I used to take her to shows with me. Let her get out there. Instead of just being a PCW. So, and they didn't mind having her at Slam, so I brought her with. And then it was like then Iceman turns on me during the match. So I'm just getting, and during the match I'm getting clocked. Like I remember Sam Hart's boyfriend at the time, Frank, who is no longer with us, unfortunately. I was a good friend with him at the time. He was watching the match. I think between platter and chair shots, I took like 12. I had a lot of color. Got the shit kicked out of me. Well, I'm tooting my own horn, but I took one of the best stunners I seen from Iceman in that match. He I did kind of more like the Scott Hall, where I didn't hit my knees. I came back. But the way I came back, I kind of rolled over my neck. It just looked perfect. Looked sick. I tried to do it again and almost killed myself. So it's one of those things. It just came out of nowhere. The way I, went back, but it looked fucking sick. So I was pretty beat up after that. And that's why it's the first match on my DVD, because the next night, I challenged Johnny Mac for the title.
Correct.
It was Friday, then Johnny Mac on a Saturday. Yeah. So, and the cool thing was, I wasn't supposed to get color in the match, but my shit was so bad
Yeah,
that
fresh,
during
yeah.
the match it
Yeah.
busted open. I might have helped it a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
kids,
know.
there's
I don't
nothing
know.
wrong with that.
But,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
10.
so then it was like the night after. That's where that thing I was showing you earlier on the wall of the newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing was, they took that picture, like we were saying about me being in the ring at intermission. That was the thing I always did. That picture was taken then, and the guy left, and then I ended up winning the title later. So I,
Oh, yeah.
But it would have been kind of cooler to have a picture with the belt, and the blood,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that was 10/13 of 07 in
Yeah.
Des Plaines.
displays, yes. So then later that night we did that old. We did. It wasn't really hardcore at all. Me and Mac, we kind of, stayed in. I was pretty beat up too.
I was the night before.
But we
yeah,
stayed.
yeah.
It was a good match. It was a good match. We did that. King of the Ring. I think it was the first one with Brett. The one that Brett won. It was semifinal match. I want to say with him and Mr. Perfect, where it was the small package 1, 2, and then turn it
The roll.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, yeah.
And the cool thing is that like when that ended, nobody knew who won.
Yeah.
So it's like you're waiting for the announcer. And I love that.
Waiting
kind
for
of
the ref's
shit.
hand. Yep.
I love
The
that,
suspense. Yeah, that's the best part.
So
about it.
that, and then once he says, "And new," so that was my second title reign. So now Aries wants the belt. He's got to go through me.
That's correct.
Yeah. So
12/15 of 07, the Christmas Chaos.
Summit.
He defeats you for the heavyweight title. That is correct.
Well, once again, me and Aries, it's me versus Aries, just us. P.L. Myers walks out, of course, gets his guys involved. That was to me, I mean, I love Whip and Rick and Bryce and Jay as a connection, but just for me, my favorite was the connection that came together that night, because earlier in the show, I think Jay already had the Midwest title. Jay defended the Midwest title. Body Count had won the tag team titles. They were with, they had just joined PL. So then now, at the end, the way the show ended, it was them all holding the belts, Body Count, Jay, and Aries, standing on top of me. Okay. Like, we run this shit. But that group of four, I mean, I was friends with all four of them, but I mean, I just liked their dynamic as the connection. Mm-hmm. I thought they kind of covered all bases because they would do the tag team before, but it would be like Burke would tag with this guy, or Rick would tag with this guy. There was never like a set tag team in the group.
Yep.
Now they had their set tag team. They had Jay, he was Midwest. They had, Aries was a champion, and it was 6 months of chasing to get my belt back.
And that's the draw. The chase. It's all about the chase.
We did coming into that, we did the Gladiator Bowl. I think we were still at the time we were still doing it in January. We didn't move it to April. Because I didn't, the January thing to me was kind of too long because Dream Night's in June.
Yeah.
But we're only doing like 5 or 6 shows in between, so it does give you time to build the story, which, I'm big on. So, I was in the whole thing. Towards the end, Aries just came and pulled me out. Wally Wild wins. So he's the one getting the title shot. And during the next few months, every match Wally was in, he won. Every match I was in, I lost. I had tapped out the Jag. I was a bloody mess. I mean, I'm talking bloody mess where I was like, getting a little worried.
It's pretty bad if you're getting
a little worried. But see, Jay, that's what I loved about Jay. Nobody I ever worked with knew how to keep the cut going like Jay Phoenix. Jay just knew right where to hit it with his knuckle, and I mean, because Wally came to make the save. I tapped out to Jay, I'm bleeding, and Wally's looking at me like, dude, are you gonna die? Because I was bleeding so bad. But it worked because he was like selling at the same time too. Like you're not, it just kind of worked. That night I went to a friend of mine's 30th birthday party. We were all turning 30 that year. And I had the Band-Aid on, with a hat, make sure nothing happened. And I was walking out of the bathroom at, the second bar we went to. and some guy accidentally hit me in the head with the door. Like, real, dude, I spilled all over the fucking place, dude, in the bar. Just spilled. But it ain't the first time. It's happened at work before, too, you know, because people are like, oh, you just wear a Band-Aid for people to see it. I'm like, no, because they should, you know, if it breaks, at least something will hold it, you know.
Yeah.
I was either a butcher or a chef, you know. I got physical work.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad if you're dripping in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and, so that led us to Dream Night. Me and Wally did a match. Our first time, because me and Wally, like I was talking about earlier, he had that Damage Inc. He was on his one little year as a heel. That was the time I was doing the butcher heel thing. So we had never worked. We had been with each other for almost 10 years, good friends, never worked. So this kind of gave us a chance to work. I asked Wally to put his shot on the line. I'm like, I need to get Aries out. He's like, yeah. I heard your sob story. You know, like we did a face versus face that worked. It worked really well. And then I went over and we kind of flipped the script because everyone's thinking Wally and Aries. We kind of flipped the script the show before Dream Night, and then it was me and Aries at Dream Night, Texas Death.
You got that right. Predictions coming good. And again, your memory's sticking in there. And with that, we're coming to the end of hour 2. We're going to go to hour 3.
Oh, all right.
Ready for hour 3. With that, we're going to go to war in hour 3. So
okay.
Hope you guys enjoyed part 2 with the Butcher. We'll see you guys next time. For
We're
my
gonna have
producer,
some
Nick H.
riffs.
Scott Spade, we'll see you for part 3 of the Butcher.